In this video, Kai and myself are pulling back the curtain on some of the most surprising and the most valuable lessons we've uncovered while auditing e-commerce brands. Welcome to our growth series, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button as we get straight into it. Kai, what's the most surprising thing you've ever found during a store audit that immediately explained to you, this is why this brand is not growing?
A lot of business owners will be fixated on a goal that they have and not look at what overall best practices are. For example, I've got this new product that I want to launch and to do really well. Now, that's not a bad goal to have, but they don't look at underlying problems that are stopping them from doing that. It's not focused to grow the brand, to grow brand presence, to get more market share. And that new product that's going to launch isn't going to do well on its own. That in itself needs its own brand strategy. There's nothing that's going to support this growth in terms of your brand strategy. Overall kind of advice for this is like, some people will get way too granular on something. And so when they ask for expert advice from someone who's done this for over 150 plus brands, then they're like, no, I want this to happen. Yes, okay. It's like going to the doctor and saying like, I want to lose weight. And you're like, okay, can you just give me a pill that's going to help me lose weight? And the doctor will say, sure, but if you want to maintain your weight loss, you're going to have to fix your diet, get exercise, get your steps in every day, lower your calories. And you have to do all this fixed work underneath before you can kind of focus on that more granular approach.
Some of the business you've talked to, have you ever had a situation where a business looked very successful on the outside, but once you got inside of the account, you quickly discovered some major issues? If so, talk to me about some of these major issues you discovered.
You see that they have some decent revenue or decent growth, but it could be just off the back end of them being already well known in the space. But then the setup in terms of they're not very profitable because they're advertising too much on their products. They haven't figured out the right pricing to be at on Amazon, for example, on a marketplace where there's a lot more expenses than you would expect. Or they've gotten this far only doing organic, and their advertising isn't set up to make them more successful. They could be doing a lot more if they had a proper advertising strategy put in place where they were, doing retargeting and looking to expand into similar audiences, doing conquest advertising strategy, doing defensive advertising strategy that they're just not looking into. Or there's brands where people talk a big game about that. When you look inside, you kind of understand that it's not really the case, and there's a lot of things that can be fixed, but there is potential in that case.
On the side of mistakes, talk to me about, is there any situation where you've seen a brand make a mistake, which may seem very small, but it ends up costing them a huge amount of revenue? Have you ever come across something like that in the auditing process?
It goes back to maybe the overfixation on certain things, that it's just a bit unfair if you're not an expert in the place, in the space where you haven't done this for several brands over and over again. Obviously, being an agency that's done this on several e-commerce channels, we've got more or less an understanding. I wouldn't say a blueprint because everyone's process is tailored, but we know kind of what it takes to develop some tailored success. So that's why I say it's unfair for someone who steps in. They have good business understanding, but maybe not e-commerce growth marketing strategy. But then again, overfixating on something, trying to maybe throw more money at a certain problem that might have nothing to do with the underlying issue is usually a big mistake that I see, is where it's just like, sometimes you need to let go of the reins and let someone who's maybe a bit more experienced handle it instead of trying to control it. I know we've walked in to help a business who this is literally like what I was saying, they had 3 people on the call with us who were all in charge of managing keywords, where we're like, it's really okay, like, we're going to handle it. We've got people on our team that can take care of it. And if this business owner would just, it's harsh to say, but not spend so much money on his own team while he's also hiring us, it could be a lot more beneficial and probably just more cost effective to see that growth.
That kind of the story you just shared leads me into the next thing I wanted to ask you. Have you talked to me about any hidden opportunity that you may have found, maybe in the process of an audit, completely, probably an opportunity that was completely overlooked, but turned out to be something really, really substantial?
One that really comes to mind is you're managing an Amazon brand, making well over 1 million yearly, and something that neither we initially or the business owner was thinking about was how well his product would do on TikTok. So we started taking that on, and once, we got a good understanding of it, it started taking off. But even before that, it was like we really overlooked that, while this could be something that has that TikTok ability, or TikTok potential, it's really important to sometimes explore those other channels, other routes that you might not expect to take.
That makes a lot of sense. So after all of the audits you've done, what would you say are like the top three things you believe every founder should check if their growth has stalled? What would you say three things could be, like a checklist or something, some place where they start if they want to scale their growth further?
I'll give you one main thing is nothing changes if nothing changes. So if you don't change the way that you're managing it, or try different approaches, it's not going to change. I know that kind of sounds obvious, but a lot of people will say, hey, maybe we just need to add a better marketing person, or add another person over here, or let me spend more hours to get it fixed. Like I was saying, it's a lot of people over fixate on things that they don't know that that's the actual underlying issue. Is if you go with a team of 20-ish people that are well studied and experienced in the areas that they're focused on, then you're much better off than doing several full-time jobs on your own, or which is kind of an approach where people will say, hey, I'm going to save money and do this. But you think about the hours that you put in, and if you calculate that at an hourly rate, how much would you get paid as a CEO of your level? It is kind of expensive. How much sometimes it is a bit more cost effective to just hand things off to someone are going to make very little mistakes on those accounts.
Important. And by the way, if you watch this, check out the link in the description. You can speak to the team so that we can get you started on a free audit, see where you might be leaving some money on the table, and possibly help you scale into other channels, whether you're trying to scale through TikTok, email marketing, Google Ads, Meta Ads. Growthscalers might just be the right team to help you with that. Thank you, Kai. I appreciate
Yes,
you
sir.
for jumping on this one.
Thanks a lot.